Okay, that was a shot of a crop circle in Britain, one of those falsified ones. Hello, people. It's all supposed to be pie. I'm using a flip cam because my computer, well, it crashed once, and it doesn't really play discs anymore. And so my cam, well, I take it back to factory condition, so my cam is not working. The software is away somewhere, and it may or may not work. I don't even know where it is. So I'm using a flip cam, and thank you, Ken, for the flip cam. And V does a lot of it with the dogs and whatnot. Anyway, so I should say the typical YouTube thing. Hi, I haven't made a video in a while. Duh, no shit, eh? Well, no, I haven't. Why? Well, there's been lots going on, and sometimes you get a little frustrated and go like, why? Why bother? Um, I enjoy I enjoy my friends who get it, and we get it. I enjoy subscribers who get it, but I'm not like particularly completely excited about being for entertainment purposes only. I mean, I'm glad to be. Hopefully, I'm a bit entertaining, but I think the message is supposed to be a bit, not just the medium. There's supposed to be a message and a purpose with it as well. So, obviously, the main thing on today's geopolitical tinfoil scene is the protests in Egypt, throughout the Middle East, Jordan, Egypt. So basically, the old school boys are not going to be handing over countries to their sons. So that's sort of a first. This is a pretty big thing. It's a really big thing, actually, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, it's interesting in a place like Egypt where there the massive protests and then the spin that's being put on it by the Western media. Oh, don't be violent, and don't hurt the reporters because we need the fucking stories, man. That's what fucking pays the bills. So don't hurt the reporters. And then you go to a G20 and you see how they treat the press there because you're not credentialed press. Yes, you are. You have a press badge. You do the same thing. Maybe you're from an alternative media source, but you're not treated the same way. So you are a reporter. So fuck the hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is everywhere. I'm a hypocrite. Everybody's a fucking hypocrite over something somewhere sometimes. It's just part of independent decision making due to individual circumstances at different times in different places. Like sometimes you can justify one thing, whereas another time you don't justify because the mind is not like a totalitarian regime of black and white. It's more liquid fluid than that. Neither right or it's right, it's wrong. I suppose. But then you get into that variable place, and then everybody ends up in that paradigm of 50% on this side, 50% on that side, which is peak efficiency for a hung jury, so to speak, of a nation state. See, democracy is a hung jury. It is a totalitarianism of a minority. Bringing democracy to Egypt is going to be a terrible thing because they're worried about something like the Muslim Brotherhood getting in, and then if it moves over to Syria, Jordan, they're worried about the clerics, really the imams coming in, not the clerics, imams. They're worried about religious, like in Iran. They're worried about that because they're worried that all the Muslims all over the world are going to suddenly turn into Borg, and then you'll have to assimilate or die. And then there's the different interpretations of the Quran, which and fucking Muslims come and chop my head off, but you know better than that. But there are different interpretations of the Quran. I mean, there's like the blue version and the green version. There's Sunni, Shia, Shiite, the ones that spin around in a circle, whatever. Anyways, even if the books were perfect, let's just hypothetically saying there's a God. Hypothetically speaking, the books are perfect. People are not. And the people who want power, the people who want to control, the people who want to rule, the people who want to be in charge of churches, countries, states, villages, those people are the most qualified, but least desired to be in those positions. If somebody says, hey, I want to be president, that person should never be allowed to be president because their personality, their reasoning, their disposition does not suit the job. It's like psychiatrists are fucked in the head. That's why they become psychiatrists. Well, that and they're like shitty medical students, so they like take the easy road because after third year or fourth year they go like, fuck, this shit's hard. Fuck this. They're like C- students. They're barely getting through their courses, so they become psychiatrists, and they're generally just fucked in the head anyway. So they're in there to like play with their own head and try to manipulate those around them. That's what psychiatrists are all about. Which is what politicians are all about. Which is what religious leaders are all about. It's all about control. One of the reasons why I take some time off, I don't really talk to anybody. Well, of course, I'm always in contact with a few people here. And, the higher evolved ones, so to speak, the least of the talking monkeys, because they're not talking monkeys, they're like, advanced human beings. It's 3 years of doing this. Don't give a fuck how many subs I got. And it's not the quality of the subs. Does it make any difference to anybody? Does anybody doing anything in their day-to-day lives that makes a little bit of a difference or a lot of a difference to free themselves? That's the whole point of what I'm talking about, is to be an independent, critical thinker. Think for yourself. Be independent. Be critical. Think for yourself. Now, at the end of the day, a lot of us happen to think alike because we're independent, critical thinkers. We come to the same conclusion about a lot of the same equations. I mean, you look at, you gather the information, you analyze the information, you come to a conclusion about what it means, how to deal with it, how to work with it, and it makes sense. So we agree with each other about most everything because it's logical and it makes sense. So we don't argue, and we do talk amongst ourselves, and we get along very, very well, surprisingly. But because we're kind of logic machines, we agree. Even if emotionally some things are a little bit uncomfortable, if it's correct, it's correct, and that's just sort of that. We're trying to free ourselves from slavery in all its many forms. I mean, there's so many forms of slavery, and I don't care, and I don't want to talk about being a slave to like one's passions or one's needs. Like, I'm a slave because I get hungry and I have to eat, so I'm a slave to food, or I like this and I'm a slave to these biochemical reactions. I'm talking about like literal slavery, debt slavery. Are you a slave to your job? Are you a slave in your relationship? Are you a slave to bad habits? Are you a slave to incorrect thinking that you even know you do, but you allow yourself to do because it's hard to break the old ways, teach an old dog new tricks, so to speak? It's not hard to teach an old dog new tricks. It is hard to break them of old bad habits, though. So the idea of what I try to do and what I try to talk about and around, and just why I just say things, is to get people to maybe perhaps look at things from a different perspective or in a different way that they may or may not have looked at them before, so that they can get around perhaps their own preconditioning, pre-programming. I mean, so many of us are products of our environment, products of what our parent told us, products of what our society told us, products of indoctrination through education. And then we are not really ourselves. Who are you? Ask yourself, who are you? What do you like? What do you want? And the things that you are, and the person you are, and what you like, and who you actually are inside of you, does anybody know that person? Or is that like kind of a secret? So is that person in a little prison somewhere inside of you? Or are you freeing that person? Are you saying like, have you been polite for so long that you're eating something that you fucking hate because it just kind of makes everybody happy? Are you doing something that you hate because it kind of keeps everything happy? The whole world is kind of going along to get along, and we just keep going along to get along, and there are rules and there are these laws, and this is what you do, and this is the laws of society. It's up to you whether you want to be a member of society or not. Like if you sign on some dotted line somewhere and say, hey, I'm a member of society, well, there's rules in that society, like the Law Society or the National Geographic Society or the Society of Cluster fucking retards that think Nibiru's going to come and take over the world, or whatever fucking society. They may have their rules and their laws, their regulations, their secret handshake. Well, this society, our society, Western society, has all these rules if you partake in this society. And then you hear things like free man on the land. But the point is, you have inalienable rights, the rights that were granted to you by God or not God, or you arrived in this world in some geographic location, and essentially there are rights there. You have a right to life. Nobody's allowed to kill you. Liberty, which is freedom, and pursuit of happiness. You're allowed to do with what your life that makes you happy. The only boundaries around that is don't fuck with other people's life, liberty, or happiness. And other than that, we should all be able to carry guns, smoke crack pipes, walk around naked, and that's, who cares? That's our life, liberty, and happiness. We're protecting our life, we're expressing our liberty, and we're pursuing happiness. There is no rules or regulations that state that I'm not allowed to have those things. And if there is, they are going against my inalienable rights. You don't need a constitution to defend your inalienable rights. A piece of paper, even if you fold it into like a super really good fucking paper airplane, it's not going to be able to protect you from goose-stepping Nazis and your rights as a human being, as a creation, a presentation, something that this earth grew, like a flower, or like you are like the coca plant. You were like a marijuana plant. Is the marijuana plant breaking some sort of fucking law by being itself and growing and becoming that? Well, a lot of people think that it is, so they crop dust it and they fucking kill everything. They're at war against that plant. Now, what did that plant do wrong? What did you do wrong by participating in that plant? My point is it's all about freedom. Okay, I think this idea of freedom is really kind of being lost. And it is not about being a democracy. It's not about being a republic. It's not about being an anarchist. It's not about any of these isms and, you know, because they're all fucking tied up into another little knot too, and they always come back to fuck with themselves, and especially the proponents of the fucking these ideas. For example, most of you probably know fucking Steph Bot. Now, he's a self-centered, egotistical prick who is also a belittling cunt, and if he was put in a position of power, he would be like Nero in a very short time. Educated, upper middle class, white people with condescending views of everybody else who is not them. Now, I don't want to bring anybody else into this little world of why he's a fucking piece of shit, asshole, retard. But he is. But it's not even his fault. You see, one thing that happens, because we have rulers, masters in this world that are in charge of education systems, that are in charge of society. We have social engineers. And the people who are in charge of the people are brainwashed. And the people who are in charge of the people who are in charge of the people are brainwashed also, but you don't know. They're very, very good at it. It's so subtle. It's so... You think they know what they're talking about. They think they're helping. They think they're educated, but they're not educating. They're training. There's a difference. I've had dogs all my life, and then we have a little peyote here now, and she's not being trained. She's being taught, and the only rules are they're there to keep her safe, essentially, to keep her safe from, fucking off and getting on the highway, or she's got safe and to be pleasant, because manners. So she's taught manners. Manners they have to be taught. Like children, people, manners are just make for better people, pleasant company, help the world go around in a little bit nicer way. But she's not trained. I've never taken her spirit away. I'm not going to do that. And she's kind of a vicious psycho dog, but I like that in her. She has a lot of character, and what she is a little bit fucking snarly about, she has a right to be snarly about, because that is her freedom, and I allow her to express her freedom. We are not allowed to express our freedom of thought, our freedom of independence, our freedom of pursuing happiness. But others profit, gain, and are allowed to do whatever they want because they're at an upper echelons. But they've been trained and indoctrinated to think that they are allowed, that they are different, they are better. Like the chosen ones versus the goy, right? The Zionists versus the goy. We're cattle, we're there to serve them because they don't want monkeys putting their thumbs on the plate when they get served their dinner, right? So what is freedom? Freedom, man, is you just, being... This whole fucking world, this whole twisted machine, we are the peasants, we are the fucking poor, we are the masses. This whole world could be changed overnight by just saying, no, we don't participate. That's what Egypt did. No, we're not going to participate. Fuck it. There's so much of us poor, because it's like critical mass. It reaches enough poor, enough pissed off, and it's just enough and enough and enough, and they just go, fuck it. We're so uncomfortable. See, that's the thing. Nobody fucking gives a shit until you're uncomfortable. Nobody really gives a shit until you're uncomfortable. You can just picture it this way. You're in your bed, it's cold out, you didn't turn the heat up, you don't got quite enough blankets. You'll try to lay in bed fucking all night kind of being cold rather than going turn up the heat or stoking the fire or get another blanket. You'll fucking be cold all night because you're not quite uncomfortable enough. So like Western society is not uncomfortable enough. And they have nothing to really drive Western society to force change, to want change. I mean, to say, okay, I'm not going to work to this shitty fucking job anymore, it means you lose your apartment, you might lose your spouse, you might lose everything, so you go along to get along again. I don't want to stick out, I don't want to be the sore thumb, I don't want to be the one person that stands up and says, I'm not fucking participating. Well, perhaps you don't want to be that person, but you should be that person who's saying, I don't want to participate sometime down the road. but I'm going to start not participating now in little steps. I'm going to start educating the people around me, letting them know that I don't want to fucking participate. So it doesn't come as a shock to anybody when you go like one day, you go like, that's it. I ain't cutting my hair. I ain't wearing a fucking suit. I ain't getting dressed today. I ain't wearing deodorant anymore. I ain't wearing Nike anymore. I don't need a whole bunch of shit that I just realized I don't need all this shit. I don't need that stuff. I don't need 7 kinds of fucking shampoo and I'm a human being. I've got to go back to my natural state. I don't know how to fish. I don't know how to hunt. I don't know how to sharpen a knife. I don't know how to fucking build a shelter. I don't know how to start a fire. See, when you realize that, like, those things, learning these skills that I discussed and survival skills, it's about learning how to become free, learning how to be a good human being, getting back to your natural state when you could compete with the animals for food and sustenance. And we weren't afraid cowering in fucking caves. I mean, we didn't just like fall out of a tree and all of a sudden we were afraid of everything. I mean, we were like fat, lazy, slow, stupid with bad eyesight, bad ears, and fucking poor coordination compared to what we used to be. I mean, realistically, think about it. We keep, depleting as a human being. They go back and say, "Oh, there was mortality, and oh, we were smaller, and there was always, we've never been as big, strong, and as fast as we are now." That's a fucking lie. That is propaganda. That is bullshit. If we came from fucking animals, we used to be good at it, and we didn't have fucking guns and fast cars and fucking airplanes to fucking, eat and do everything that we wanted to do. We did it like with, probably a pointy stick and a rock. And we ate for fucking thousands, tens of thousands, millions of years. We did quite fine. Oh, but we were afraid of the animals? No. No, the animals fucking know us. I am out in the bush all the time. Bears know me. The fucking wolves know me. There's a relationship. And once you're comfortable and you're in and you're familiar and you know the animals and the animals know you, it's like kind of cool. You kind of all get along. And they're kind of they're a little afraid of us because they know that, like, not to fuck with us. They just know that we'll fuck them up. So we didn't come down and be like all scaredy cat. These are stories. These are myths. These are perpetrated by like white people who live in a city and write these fucking stories about black people in Africa or natives in fucking Western British Columbia or the Inuit up north. I mean, these stories about being afraid are fucking bullshit. It's not true, man. You tell an Inuit, go to an Inuit and say, "Are you afraid of the animals?" He's like, "No." You go, "Well, what about polar bears?" He goes, "Well, here, I'll show you how to kill a fucking polar bear if need be, but I don't because I like the polar bears. Polar bears like me." They've killed the fucking native fucking culture from the whole world, right? Why? Because they want you afraid, living in a city, living in a box, and not knowing how to look after yourself. Part of it, and they kill all the shaman because they don't want you to know anything but fucking this distorted view of religion, which is Christianity, which is the most perverse idea of Christ that has ever been invented. Christianity is antithesis, is like Christianity is the antichrist to Jesus. I mean, Jesus was a poor motherfucker. He was like a broke ass hippie and just said like, "Hey, let's do this. Let's be cool. Let's like raise our intelligence, our level of vibration, our energy, and fucking, let's move beyond this petty fucking warring, money, greed, manipulating fucking society thing. If you don't believe in Jesus, just think of it as a philosophical idea. Let's move above it. Let's go to Christ consciousness, the Buddha mind. Let's go to another space where everything's fucking better." And I ain't talking fucking hippie freaks. Oh yeah, peace, love. Fuck that shit too, because they're a bunch of fucking morons too, because they're going another way and they don't know how to do anything. That's why hippies fail, because they get these, we're gonna lay around in smelly blankets and fucking cardboard shacks out in the fuck. No, because they didn't know how to do anything. Because you gotta be able to do, you gotta be able to think, you gotta be a good animal. You gotta get back to your natural state. In your natural state, you have much more intelligence. You have much more strength, much more courage, much more charisma. You will feel better. And how do you get to your natural state? Stop being like a fucking television talking monkey, wearing all that shit, being the shit that you're told to be, living the lifestyle that is fucking superficial bullshit, and all of it is fucking basically funded by big pharma, petrochemical, and fucking slaves in third world countries to make your fucking shiny shit. I mean, why do you need silk anything? You got like fucking 4-year-old kids in India and Bangladesh, dealing with little cocoons of silkworms that make you a silk fucking something or other. What the fuck you need that shit for? Get back to your natural state, man. You don't need synthetics. Wear something out of cotton or leather. Go naked. Fucking get rid of disposable everything. Get rid of your plastics. Get rid of whatever. Get back to your natural state. Go build a fire in your yard with a fucking match and a piece of paper. Just go do it. Just go in your backyard and build a little fire. Find some sticks. Go burn something. See if you can do it. Now beyond that, that's why I get frustrated. That's why I go away. That's why I don't care. Because everybody's like, cool, man, that's cool, but what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What about this conspiracy? There is no conspiracies. There is no conspiracies. Or it's all a conspiracy. It doesn't matter. It's a distraction. This is what about this? This is this. And Egypt. Do you think it's a CIA thingamajig? Well, the vice president is like what? That guy that in. He's the ex of head of fucking security. I mean, just look at it. Would you hire the ex of fucking what is it? KGB to run Russia? Well, apparently they did. And what does everybody think about that? Not much, right? So why would anybody accept the ex-head of whatever their fucking thing is called in Egypt to be the vice president, and we all know that's in America's back pocket, and fucking then they'll be friends with Mossad, of course, because of the fucking Palestinian thing. So, and it's all fucking bullshit once again. So everything's a conspiracy. But the uprising, the people who just don't give a fuck anymore and who are angry, that is not conspiracy. That is not because they've been talked into it. It's not like fucking getting the Shah out of Iran back in the day, where the CIA is infiltrating. No, we're upon a new generation. And like what am I, 44 or something, 44 or 45? My daughter is 22-ish somewhere. And then now she has a daughter. My daughter's generation, they don't want to fucking fight with nobody anymore. They don't want that. And that's around the world. They don't want, like in Israel and Palestine, that generation and the below, they don't want to fight with each other anymore. It's the fucking grouchy old men that still want to fucking do that hate thing, then they're carrying it on for generation after generation. The racism, the fucking we hate, and you see those little Palestinian kids with little suicide bomb shit packed on, like they're fucking 4 years old with all the right colors of a good martyr. And I mean, the little kids, they don't know, but they're being taught that bullshit, right? You got the little girls from elementary school fucking writing "suck my dick" or whatever on the bombs that are going to Palestine via Israel. I mean, fuck. Okay, people are teaching hatred. But then you got like in Norway, where they want harsher penalties for Holocaust deniers. Why? You don't want to believe in the Holocaust? You don't fucking have to. Why do I have to be forced to believe in the Holocaust? What else do I going to have to believe in? Will I have to believe in God, even though I do? Will I have to believe in fucking, the abominable snowman, which maybe I do? What do I have to, I'm going to be told what I have to believe in, what I have to admit to? Shit happened in the 40s. I was not there. I am one of those people who sometimes like to be able to see things for myself and not rely on secondhand information or state-run propaganda. The history was written by the victors, and therefore it is probably going to have a lean towards making the victors look good. Fuck, does anybody think Henry VIII was a cool guy? No, but we're all getting all excited about the fucking next royal wedding. And, not all, but, that shit's going on. So what do change. Change for what? You're seeing change in Egypt. Change for the better? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? But something's going on. And it really is time to overthrow the elite. The elite establishment, the established system, the elite, all of them. And Barack Obama's making himself look like a fucking retard, and our Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, is looking like a fucking retard. And it's all bullshit all the way around the planet. And just say no. Just sort of say no in every little way you can think of. And if you ain't ready to go big in a say no way, well then start small. Just say no in all the little ways you can. Because the bottom line is, these people don't run anything. The Illuminati, the black nobility, the United Nations, yeah. It's a fucking ancient priesthood. Bottom line, there's ancient fucking priesthood that still runs the whole goddamn planet. They never went anywhere. The Vatican runs it. The Queen of England runs it. The Zionists run it. The Jesuits, the fucking Muslims are. It's still the same people. They've been around for like thousands. They just change uniforms, change clothes. They don't give a fuck. But there's an agenda. There's always an agenda. Control, power, manipulation, more power, more control, and to keep everybody as a slave. Because anybody, go into your own mind and ask yourself, would you like to have some slaves? Oh, you wouldn't be mean to them, but would you, slaves, completely obedient, do anything you want, anything you ask, anytime, and you're their master? Of course, everybody's thought about it. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't it be cool? Maybe it's kind of wrong, but it's only an imagination. These people don't imagine it. They want fucking servants. And it is. I mean, look at what the fucking Rockefellers and Rothschilds have said. Look at what has been documented. Look what was written down by our global masters. They want you as slaves. So what do? Do you fight them, attack them? You don't have to. Just stop being a slave. And then the whole thing crumbles. This pyramid, the whole pyramid scheme, the eye and everything, the whole thing fucking falls down. That down at the bottom, we're all down at the bottom, let's say. We just stop supporting every level above us. The whole thing fucking crumbles. That's probably long enough. I got company. I gotta go. Anyway, God bless or not God bless. Take care.